Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic.
I'm doing well as well. This is recorded, by the way, before you say some racist ass shit.
Appreciate that.
I want the whole world to know you're a bigot. So, what do you have there?
Oh, I got couple orders from the Etsy shop today and working on a Princess Leia patch.
I can see it already. Is that enough? Because you can recognize the character. Do
Right?
you need
Just
to do any
stop
more
and be
work
like,
now?
I mean, I only charge $6, so it's like, and it takes me so
Yeah.
long. I'm like, I should probably charge more for that. So yeah. Should
Is this
probably
like buying Bitcoin in 2011?
what's up?
Are these going to be really valuable in one day? Is this like buying Bitcoin like 10 years ago?
Yeah. Each
Let's say it is.
Each one comes with a complimentary die cut Dartha Stewart sticker too. So
Which, unless you had like a tremendous deal with Sticker Mule, those are not, well, they're not free.
I did get them from Sticker Mule, but I don't remember what the deal was. And I thought like, oh, I should probably order like hundreds of these, and I'm so glad I didn't. Because
The
it has not
universe
been
saw that as a
necessary.
sign.
Hmm?
The universe saw that as a sign to send more traffic to your store, maybe. I don't know.
I know. Cruel, cruel world. How are you?
I'm doing well. I had a really nice break last week. I had Thursday and Friday off because
Wow.
we have this yearly company tradition, which obviously could not be followed this year. Of the whole company goes to Cancun together.
Oh yeah. I remember you saying that that's a thing that happens.
So we'll do that in 2022. But this year it was like, all right, you just get 2 days off. So it was just like 4 days of relaxation, food, eating, walking around the city a bunch.
Is it still is it still like a ghost town there?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, very much. It's very post gold rush.
Oh man. When are you heading out to um Pittsburgh?
Whenever I'm getting a vaccine, I guess.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't want to be a disease vector.
Hmm. Aren't you noble?
No, nobility has nothing to do with it. If I was noble, I'd probably have the connections to get the vaccine right now anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more I'm scared of death.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know where that came in from. I'll probably chit chat all day. Did you have a topic in mind? What did you want to talk about today?
I mean, I don't know how these go. And
They're
like
so they're super
what other
easy.
people say. I want to
There's
get it
13
right.
there's 13 episodes so far, and everybody has talked about like a bunch of different things that are interesting to them. So
Like one topic.
the first episode is not actually a good example because that person was actually an expert on that topic. But the first episode was John Huxley talking about Myers-Briggs because he actually has one of the most active Myers-Briggs tests
What
website
is that?
online,
Oh, really?
which he made. Yeah.
I would love to check that out.
You should listen to episode one. The link is in the description.
um, what is John, by the way? What's the
I
thing?
you know what? I completely forgot.
What?
I don't even know if I know my own. I think it was either INFP or INTP. I don't know which one it was though.
This is important information.
I mean, the thing is, I can always go back and listen to that episode, so it's right there. So I know it's accessible.
I love Myers-Briggs. All right, well, I won't
So
talk about that.
you can't talk about that. Also, like, yeah, but yeah, there's no expectation to be an expert or anything. The
Okay,
point really is to get to
that's
know people, and one of the ways to do that is to get to know the things that they like.
Okay, I think I should probably stick to curling then, because I am by no means an expert, but I do love it.
As you're doing an entirely other activity, like right now.
I mean,
How
I
did you why did you even start curling? I think isn't it generally I ask people like how did you get interested in that, and I'm like, yeah, how would you even come across that?
um that's a great question. Can I go on a tangent?
That's, you know what, that I might as well have named this thing tangents because that's most of it's gonna be.
Get ready. um, so I was actually thinking about that today, only because I was thinking that how I got into curling is such a boring story. It was basically just like Melissa, who used to sit next to me at work, and I being like, "Oh, curling's like the one Olympic sport we're not too old enough for. Like we could still do this." Um, yeah, but
Is that actually true? Like, is that sentiment true?
I don't know because I don't actually know. Well, I mean, have you seen the curlers in the Olympics? Like the men have to be in their 40s
What do you mean have to be?
just based on how they appear.
Oh, they, I thought you meant like they have to be good at the sport.
Oh no. Well, okay, but there might be some truth to that because I think it is one of those things that because it's like about strategy and whatnot and like muscle memory, as long as you can still get low to the ground, like all the people over 50 that I've played with are like fucking wizards. Like I don't know how
Is
they do
bowling
that.
like that?
What's that?
Is bowling the same?
I mean, it must be, right? Like, aren't there so many old people bowling leagues?
I don't know, man. I've only seen bowling leagues in the Big Lebowski. Is the only time I've actually, and I know it's not based in fact.
They're real, man.
I have no idea, but I feel like bowling, if I've ever run across it randomly on ESPN 7, it's always like older people. It's not like guys in their 20s or
No,
like
they're
21 or
like
something.
guys with guts. Like you don't have to like keep yourself up. Like you
You
could be
have to have
sponsored by
the
McDonald's.
mass to control the ball.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to control you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the
Mm-hmm.
same with the stone.
It's the same with the Stone Man. Um, but anyway, yeah, I don't think the Olympics are
Wait,
the
does that
sport.
mean I know you're not a man in your 40s with a giant beer gut. Does that mean you're like trash at curling? Well,
No, I'm not bad at it, and I feel like I've gotten better just in the couple times I've played in Denver. I think it's because I'm not playing on like shitty hockey ice like in Oakland. Like the
there's
hockey teams
differences.
will leave, they do a once over with the Zamboni and
Oh, oh.
like a topographical map of ice and you'd be like, okay, just like launching everything.
I mean, that sounds more like putting. Like a putting green is not just flat. There's like, I've seen those animations with all the arrows and going like all the slopes in different places.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know I don't know where I stand skill level.
On on what? Oh, Elo wise.
Yeah. Um I
So
get by.
you've never been to like a tournament?
Oh no, no, no. I've so there was a tournament in the Bay Area. It was like the Golden Gate Bonspiel. So the tournaments are called Bonspiels.
Bonspiel?
Yes. And it is a fun affair if you ever get the opportunity to attend a Bonspiel. I highly recommend. We got there, so we were in the one and under category. So it's like 1 year of experience curling, which I don't know how they check for that, but curlers seem like honest people.
Your
Um,
finger, they check your fingers for like stone calluses, which are quite distinctive.
yeah, exactly. Um, so we get there at like 8 in the morning, and they're like, okay, the hard alcohol is behind the scoreboard. Like it is very much a drinking sport, which I did not realize. Um, and it's like an all day affair, this one. So everybody's just drinking, and uh, there was a break while other teams were playing, and we're in the outfit. We've got like the curling
Right?
club jacket. We're holding fucking brooms, and these guys come up to us and they're like, "So, ladies, like, what do you think of this sport we play here?" And we're like, "The
What?
one that we're also playing. Like, why else would you dress like this? Whole like wearing these goofy ass shoes, holding brooms." And they were like, "Oh, we thought you were waitresses."
What?
So we look at each other, Melissa and I. We
This
were
is
like,
like on the ice.
"This is so like most proper curling rinks have a bar attached to them.
Okay.
This is like we're off the ice, but like we're clearly players, or apparently
Right.
not right." And so we look at each other. We're like, "Oh my god, we have to beat these guys." I don't know how because we don't actually know how to play this game yet. Um, and somehow we pulled out some crazy moves out of our ass. Like I'm talking, it was all luck, but we won that whole category.
Okay.
So we kind of won our first Bonspiel.
That's amazing. Were
What?
they also one and under?
Um, the other teams?
The dicks. The people
Oh,
you were talking about.
yeah. So that made it very sweet.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Um, and then from there, we did one other one. We competed in Calgary, which is
Is that
like,
like the home of curling or something?
yeah. So like when you travel, especially internationally, and they'll be like, "Oh, you here for like business or pleasure?" And we're like, "We're here for a curling tournament." And they were like, "Oh
That's
yeah."
business.
Like, right. So
Serious business.
um and then even in an Uber, we were like, we're going to the curling rink, and the guy's like, "Which one?" So that was that was pretty fun. We were not ready for that. It was a 3 day
Right.
tournament. They let us out with bagpipers, and that was another moment of like, yeah, we're not ready for this. We did win.
Was there an entrance fee? How did they just let you walk onto the ice?
Well, there's an entrance fee, but like this couple who actually knows what they're doing from the Bay Area club invited us to play with them for God knows why.
No, they heard you won the Bonspiel.
We won the one and under. They actually taught those two actually taught us how to play. They
Okay.
saw something in us,
They
basically.
they wanted to. Were they really old? Were they just looking to pass on their stones?
No, I think I'm older than both of them.
Oh wow.
This has come up.
They
Okay,
just see talent. They just
put
know
a
talent when they
pin
see
in
it.
this because I need to bring up the ageism in curling.
Which you just were also a part of like 10 minutes ago.
Well, yeah, like I didn't write the book.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear about the scandalous underbelly of the curling world.
So I don't know what it is, if it's like a Denver thing or a curling thing. It might be a curling thing though, because there's a fantastic episode. I don't know if you've seen this new animated show, The Great North. Um,
No.
there is an episode just on curling, and I think they just nailed it. But it was just like, oh, like all the seniors are in the over 36 category. But like, if you go if you go to a curling club, most of the folks are like a little older. And by a little older, I mean like generally north of 40.
All right.
Um, So I'm there last Wednesday, and uh the team to the sheet next to us, so the like row that you play on is called the sheet.
Oh,
Um,
like the lane, I
the
guess.
lane, yeah.
Okay.
Like a
You're
shuffleboard.
trying so hard to not have it be like bowling.
It's not. It's shuffleboard.
Oh, okay, okay. Sure, sure.
um. So, uh, I don't know. They were obviously more competitive, and like one of the dudes was like cursing. I don't know what was going on in their game, and this
Okay.
woman, like on that team, motions towards me and goes, "Careful, there are children present." And I was just like, "Okay," and I just laughed. But then again, like with all curling clubs, there's a bar after. So when
Right.
people go hang out after the games, it's called broom stacking. My
I
favorite
wonder
part of
why.
the game. So someone was just like, "Oh, can I grab you a beer?" And I was like, "Yeah." And the same lady was just like, "Are we all over 21?" It's just like,
So maybe it's should we malign the whole sport of curling because of lady? It's like that lady.
no. But it's
I
not.
mean, you just want to punch her specifically is I think what I'm sensing.
Yeah. I just like there's a part of me that's like, oh, I'm okay with people thinking I'm like a child because maybe that'll explain why I'm not great at this.
No, but like, well, I don't know. There could be some moments in life when it could be, beneficial for someone to think you're much younger than you are, but most cases it's not.
It's been a pet peeve of mine since I was a teenager, though. It just drives me freaking nuts when people think I'm like 10
Yeah.
years younger.
Yeah,
And I don't
people
know like, what
never
am I supposed to do? Like, put more grays in my hair? Like, I don't know
do
how to.
that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I need, I need some of that. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, at this point, I'm like wearing makeup sometimes to look older, like teenagers do.
You should really spend a ton of time and perfect your old person voice. Like I'm talking like a man in his 70s. And just like whenever someone does this, just start using that voice at them.
I'm pretty sure I've subconsciously deepened my voice at times, which doesn't
Oh.
make sense, but also maybe it does. I don't know.
No, people do that though,
But like,
Like I heard, that that woman who was like caught for fraud and stuff, who was running that company for doing blood tests and whatnot, Elizabeth Holmes.
oh yeah, yeah.
She used to do that. She was like deepen, really like noticeably deepen her voice whenever she was doing like talks or this or
Interesting.
that and whatnot.
Okay, that's something I could try.
Yeah.
I don't like I need to carry myself differently. Like I can't help that I'm short. That's not in my
I
favor.
mean, but that's not the only thing, right? Like, I don't think I'm pretty tall, but I don't think anybody would consider me a young person. Some you need. This is the thing. You need some symbol. For me, it's the hair. I think it's the gray hair for sure, which makes it patently clear.
What
But
like
I still get carded, dude. I still get carded.
mm, I don't know.
Um, but anyway, that's more like life is unfair. Curling.
Yeah, I think well, this is tangent, but
But we were coming from a tangent.
like curling. I actually it was a whole other tangent. Explaining curling to someone who doesn't know anything about curling was
Mhm.
actually part of a job interview I had in the Bay Area.
Like they were trying to ask you about like your personality,
No,
and it came up.
they were like just explain something that you know about and teach it
Oh,
to us.
you know what? Let's. I think it would be really fun to go through what you said.
Well, it was garbage too because it's
That's why.
an interview and they're like, okay, you have 5 minutes to just explain. And it started off with like kind of a sexist comment where the guy was just like, yeah, just something you know a lot about and like not yoga or something. I was just like, I don't know anything about yoga, but all right. um,
That's like if they were interviewing me and they said like not cricket or whatever.
yeah, you're like, oh, then I got nothing.
I actually don't like cricket.
um,
Um,
I basically just tried to explain the rules real quick. So it's just like,
which are I don't know them.
okay,
Can
so
you tell me?
picture a shuffleboard if you can.
I is it like a tiny curling ring?
Picture a sheet of ice. We'll start there.
Done. Easy.
On opposite ends, there is almost like a dartboard.
Okay.
In so
Okay.
there's like
Like
a
a Target logo.
yeah, so there's like a blue circle and a white circle and a red circle, and
Okay.
the red is the bullseye.
Sure.
So each team, which is 4 people, so you've got the lead. That just means they're throwing first. They're not
Okay.
captain. There's the second, which I usually
Okay.
play, which is the person who tries to like knock the other team's rocks off because
Okay.
I just
Okay.
launched that sucker. Three, third person to throw is called the vice. Don't know why. Fourth
The
person,
vice.
yes. And
Okay.
fourth person is the skip, and the skip is the captain, and they stay at the opposite end of the ice, telling the person throwing the rock on their team where to put it.
Oh, so the captain doesn't actually throw any stones.
They throw last. So when they throw, the vice steps into the skip role and tells them
Which
where.
is why they're called vice, because
Yeah,
it's like a
yeah.
vice captain, I guess.
Other than that, I don't know. It has to just be that. There's probably nothing
You
more.
have to have a really amazing grip to be the vice.
Yes.
Literally like a vice.
So when uh so when the lead is throwing the rock, the second and the vice are sweeping.
Okay.
When the second person throws, the lead and the vice are sweeping. And
Whoever is not the captain or the thrower is sweeping.
exactly. So and then the like the general object is to just so there's each team has you either have the yellow rocks or the red
Okay.
rocks. Or
Okay. Those are the standard colors
those are
or
the standard colors. Sometimes there's blue. More often it's like ketchup and mustard. So
okay.
that's
Okay.
how I see it. And you're basically just trying to get your team's rocks as more of them closer to the center than the other team. So the
Quick
strategy
question.
is
It
like guarding your rocks, knocking the other team out.
I have a quick question.
Yes,
Is
sir.
rocks colloquial? Do people say stones generally or do they say rocks?
Um, kind of interchangeably.
Really?
They're like if you and it's back at my desk in the office. I mean, I could look this shit up on the internet, I suppose, but I have a whole book of curling strategy, and like the
Okay.
glossary of terms is just half the book. So
I just maybe thought that there might be differences in like how Denver works versus the West Coast.
there are little differences. So like um I don't pay too much attention to the terms because that's just not what I'm willing to do for this hobby.
That's very understandable and fair. Though I would argue the hard part is like getting up at 8 a.m. and having like, semi microaggressions hurled at you every now and then. It sounds like the harder part than like terms.
well, I don't know that I'll ever do another Bonspiel again. Like the league night I do is like after work.
Dude, one and done. Literally, that phrase could not apply more perfectly, right? One and done. So,
Exactly. But yeah. Uh I'm not willing to. It's one of those games like you could spend your whole life trying to perfect.
Some people do.
Some people do. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Okay, maybe a quick question.
Yes.
What's the best players you ever played with? What level were they at?
So at the Calgary Bonspiel,
Right?
there were some people who have been on like national teams.
Right. Did you get to play with them?
Yeah, and then they're those wizards. Just like,
What was it like if you were to try to be like them? Is it a lot of physical training or is it just practice?
no, like some of these people, like I could
These-
probably run laps around. They say that core strength is a thing that helps you with that
Okay.
like when you're delivering the rock, but I don't know. Like I have curled when I've been in like excellent shape and when I've been in
Okay.
shape, and I have not noticed a difference. Like, yes, like
Got
when
it.
I'm sweeping, and this is sad. And for I think the last couple of weeks, I've been blaming the elevation change from the Bay Area.
Oh, of
Or
course.
I think I'm
Of
just out
course.
of shape because I wake up from like after the league night, and I'm like, and because of COVID rules right now, they only allow one person to sweep. So it's like
Right.
all me. So I'm just like sweeping my ass off, and then I wake up and I'm like, my chest hurts, which also actually happens after I bowl. So I think the moral of the story is that I am just out of shape.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say curling is just cold bowling.
Bowling is bowling. If A is B and B is C.
That honestly, the title of this episode is gonna be bowling. I think that would be hilarious.
Bowling. Wait, can I tell the story?
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
of course, of course, of
know of
course.
how. So yeah, I was thinking about it today because I was just like, oh, I wonder if you'll ask how I got into curling, and I was just thinking of how boring a story that is. And I mean, yes, it did involve getting like really drunk at like like a California pizza kitchen and being like, what if we just got really good at curling? And then there was no like step two. It was just that. But anyway,
Generally, I find you end up at CPK because you're drunk, but you don't
you've
go because
already
you're drunk.
been drinking somewhere else, and then it's like, oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
god, how great is CPK?
Yeah. I think I've been there a couple of times.
They're their Southwest egg rolls are fantastic.
I don't know if I've had those. I've had their pizza.
Oh, weird.
Like a fool.
I don't like I've had their pizza, but this is my problem. I'll order like chicken at a steakhouse and then get food poisoning. Gotta just stick to what they know. Anyway,
Yeah. I've ordered sushi at not a Japanese place.
yeah, that's Stacy. Living on the edge. Uh,
Yeah. It didn't die,
how
I guess.
I got into roller derby was a lot weirder. I don't know if I've told you this.
I think you've mentioned it.
It involves a psychic.
Oh no, not I don't know the story. I know about being involved in roller derby though, but that sounds like a fascinating story.
It is a fascinating story. Um, and it's actually my friend who happens to live down the street here in Denver. Um, Back when we were both living in LA, and this is like, I don't know, our mid 20s, we were in some shitty neighborhood in LA. And uh, she had a psychic come over to her house for her birthday. So, like, everybody would do a one off reading
Sure.
person. And I go in for mine. And I like the second I opened the door, she was like, the psychic's like, whoa, you've got a lot of anger. So we just I didn't see that coming. And
Okay.
to be
Interesting
fair, she was probably
statement.
right.
I don't it's I could debate that statement, but also not. I don't know. I think I'd make the conversation more about the semantics of like what anger might mean in this case. But
At the time, I think that was an accurate assessment. The fact that she
okay, okay.
could like read that from me, like coming into the room all like happy and drunk at a birthday party, was like, oh, maybe you do know stuff.
So
um,
what did she know?
well, nothing really. Like I sat down. I sat down. She told me I had a lot of anger, and she was like, "Have you ever considered doing roller derby?" I was
I
like,
thought she was gonna say, "Have you considered therapy?"
"No, that would have been a way better head start had I done that at that time."
Oh my goodness.
But
Okay, she doesn't have a roller derby business.
no, like it would be actually really interesting if psychics were just doing that as like a a way to flow people into the
Like
real
leads, get leads.
yeah. Interesting. um, so I was like, well, no, but I've always been really good on skates. So that like that's how that started. But now the rest of the session, it was just me and her talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer episodes because we both seen them all. But then, so this is not funny, but at the end of the night, I forget what neighborhood we were in. The psychics, while she was at the party, like her car had been stolen outside of the house, and it's like
That
everyone
is
is all thinking
hilarious.
like she didn't see that coming.
But that's so hilarious.
I know it's so funny. It's not funny because like she's I don't know how much money you make as a psychic, but
Oh, but like it's not like she was carrying like the purse of her like week's wages in the car or something. I'm guessing it was like just minor stuff.
I don't think so. But it was really hard to not laugh very hard at
Did
that.
you tell her like I'm sensing a lot of anger in you right now?
Maybe you should join roller derby with me.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Looks like I got a partner for that derby
Yeah, you in,
debut.
girl. So
Um,
yeah, less exciting. No seer told me to get into curling.
I've told you about my psychic landlord. In grad school, I had a landlord who presumably her day job was being a psychic. Uh,
Oh,
and she
wow,
was
that's
just,
a sweet gig. You own property, and then the rest of the time you
he
just
owned multiple properties, multiple houses in Long Island, by the way, not like just random middle of nowhere. And then, but this is the funniest thing. This is recorded. I should watch it, I say. But she like would ask me for rent like 10 days ahead of the start of the month and be like, if you can give me like the rent early, I'll take like $50 off, which I was always like, of course, that's like so much money for me as a student.
yeah.
But that makes me think that the psychic gig doesn't pay well. I don't know, maybe
No,
like
they always seem pretty expensive.
they are expensive if people go to them.
That's true. I don't know what the traffic is like.
I think it's probably pretty bad.
It's probably
Um,
yeah, that industry's probably been hit pretty hard.
oh, I didn't even think about COVID. Oh,
I,
but I feel like that's one of those industries that is like prime to move online, right?
well, yeah, I mean, like, do do you were you, were you here during the rise of Miss Cleo?
Who's that?
She was like a phone psychic. This was like when I was a kid.
No, no.
And you'd
I
call
moved to the
Miss
US in
Cleo,
2010.
and she'd be like, this person would always be like, oh, like getting good news from her. And then she'd end the commercial and she'd be like, believe it, baby.
I have no idea what you're talking about,
Everyone
but
wanted to
I
call.
can I can imagine. Did she have like was she like decked out with a bunch of random stuff and looked
It was over the top. Miss Cleo.
like did she look I don't even know if this is an offensive word, but did she look gypsy-ish?
I mean, she wore like hair wraps,
I
but
don't even know what that
beyond
is.
that, like, no, she wasn't like over the top. Um,
For a psychic, she was actually very well put together.
yeah, she was like pretty conservative. But yeah,
um,
I'm sure there's like online tarot readings and palm
oh,
readings.
absolutely. But it's probably increased traffic if anything else, because it's easy, right? You can just do it from home.
Yeah, and when you're bored, you're like, yeah, like I'll pay $50 for
I
any.
feel like probably a lot of these readings, like I'm talking 90%, happen like 3 to 4 drinks in. You're like, you know what I need?
Yeah,
You know what I've needed for the last 5 years?
you know what I
A
need to
psychic reading.
that I have that I have like issues with my mom because that's where they like I don't know. So you've never been to a psychic?
Well, not outside of paying rent early.
I do remember going into one like fairly intoxicated with a friend of mine, like coming literally coming straight out of a Waffle House, across, going like across the street, like ha ha ha, let's do that. And it was kind of amazing to see how artful she was, the psychic, about like, you know, just grabbing like the most minute detail that you gave up and turning it into like, oh,
Right.
you have issues with your dad. And my friend would be like, oh my God, like, but yeah, it helps to be like fairly drunk.
I feel like these, well, yeah, I feel like these psychics, like, has someone told them about tech management? Because they could totally be really good people managers
Is
if they have that skill.
a bunch of psychics.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's, my mom told me this story. She used to do this she was a high school teacher. And whenever they would have fairs, like these yearly student, whatever, events, I guess, she would do palm readings.
Ooh,
And obviously, she didn't know how to read palms, but she just like make some stuff up. And these are all teenage girls. It's like a girls only school. And they would just eat it up. Like she would just be like, so I noticed this, but she was just a people person. That's how she knew. That's how she knew what they
every
were doing.
boy likes you.
And especially the one you don't think likes you,
Yeah, nice.
or you'll be married within 3 years. Ooh.
Mhm.
Something like that.
Cool. It's like a middle
Uh,
school child.
but it's very, yeah, it's so easy. And that's like during the middle of the day, stone cold sober in the sunlight outside. If you can do that, I'm sure a lot can happen in a psychic's office. Is
Oh,
it an office? What is it called?
yeah. Later? I, that doesn't seem fair. It's usually like,
But let's say borough.
okay, what's weird is I'm like having flashbacks now to more psychic visits. Like, I guess I was into this. And I
This
have
was not the only time.
blocked this time of my life. But I think it's happened twice where like the psychic's adult son has been like half asleep on the couch in the other room.
Did you go to the same psychic
No,
twice?
no, like the very first one I went to was I was a teenager. It was in Providence, Rhode Island. And that was definitely like an adult son on the couch situation. But I know I've seen it somewhere else in
So
real life.
it kind of runs in the family, is what you're saying?
That like, these women are just trying to provide for their deadbeat
Dude,
sons.
like, why are there no male psychics? Or are there? Well, maybe they're just called mediums.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like medium is like maybe a more respectable title, but mediums are
Yeah.
also like I don't know the subtle differences, but I know mediums like talk to people who have
They,
passed on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're like, they do the Bruce Willis thing, right? They see dead
Yes,
people kind of thing.
yes, 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 and like 100% of my knowledge of this is from the Long Island medium.
I mean, it would be a really, really creepy story and would make a nice movie if actually this was the same person. And anytime you go to like a psychic, it's like this person.
Right, like over the span of 30 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the same adult son.
Yeah.
Which at the end of the movie, and you go and check it's a mannequin like the whole time, like it was never real.
At the end, I'm like, get a job.
It's a movie about the dangers of of universal income.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the story.
uh, do you watch curling? I'll try to.
Yeah. Thank you. Um, it is actually really thrilling to watch in person.
Sure, because everything can change with one stone, right? Like there's so much
Yeah,
with like a sport with like football. If it's like 7:30 or 31, it's like what's gonna happen?
yeah. This is like it's like watching anyone who's really good at something is just thrilling to me.
Yes, that yeah,
So like I mean, long after we had already been knocked out of the tournament in Calgary, which, okay, the one game we did win, we won 40 Canadian dollars, which we had to split 4 ways. And like, because there was a bar there, it was like gone in 5 seconds. But after that, we got to just watch like all the finalists play. And it was like, I felt like I was watching football. I was like, oh my God, take out, it was thrilling.
and I guess my question was, do you watch it when it happens in the Olympics or on TV? But that's a fair response too. But do you actually watch it when it happens in the Olympics?
I'll watch it during the Winter Olympics, which is around the
Oh,
time.
right, Winter Olympics.
Right. There are two.
The younger brother of Olympics.
Yeah, yeah, I know it's true. The stepchild. Um,
The the son that decided to be an accountant rather than a rock star.
we love them both equally.
Yeah, the rock star and who's the other one?
Yeah. His manager. Um, that's actually around the time.
Dude, that's like that's the story of that one comedian. Do you know about that? What's his name? Dane Cook.
Oh, yeah.
His brother was his accountant. Do you know his story? Oh, I'll tell you right after, but let's put a pin in that.
Okay. Um, yeah, it was the 2018 Winter Olympics that we were both Melissa and I were both watching it, and
Okay.
how we got the idea to even look to see if there was curling, and then it was like, oh, Oakland Ice Center hosts Learn to Curls, and that's like when these curling clubs make their money is during like Winter Olympics. Every
Oh,
4 years, they're like, let's come up on these people who suddenly give a shit. um, so that was us, and
I mean that makes sense, like everyone's interested in space right now because Perseverance just landed on Mars. So that totally makes sense.
exactly, exactly. So I like there. I've never loved watching it on TV, especially like it's not like something you want to watch by yourself. It just feels weird and creepy. I don't know why.
You mean sports or curling?
Curling specifically.
I that doesn't make sense to me.
I don't
Why?
know why. Like there are curling clubs, like the Bay Area one and like the Denver one. They'll host watch parties. Like I guess there was some big
Sure.
tournament just happening, and
That makes sense.
yeah, that seems like. And it was funny too because someone else I used to curl with sent me a text about it. I was just like, oh yeah, it's a nail biter, but like I was not watching.
I mean, I guess it depends. Like, so I'm coming from a place where I don't watch any sports. So to me, like all of that is like the way people get really hyped about sports. I've never understood that. My own brother, like he loves cricket, and I
Mm.
kind of had to watch cricket growing up because there's only one TV in the house. Um, But yeah, I think it's a lot about like if you can get into the stories of the players and the teams and their like rivalries and oh this rookie came in and just destroyed everybody. Like that's what makes it exciting, really.
I mean,
So
that's
does
why
curling
pro
not have like
wrestling was
I'm
amazing.
sure in Canada there's like feuds like Calgary versus I don't know, whatever other parts of Canada and like they're
Well,
fierce.
which reminds me of something. Like, aside from that, I guess that one ageist lady, like curlers and curling communities are generally like super nice, super welcoming.
How old was she, by the way?
So the league I'm in is supposed to be 21 to 49. And I'm sorry, like this woman looked like she was in her 50s. And I know I'm doing the opposite here. So just know I'm aware.
Someone here needs to get their driver license checked again. Like that's what you're doing.
um oh shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. Something about curling.
I think we're just talking about sports and how different sports are interesting to watch versus not. And I was saying like I don't watch any sports. That's where I think I last finished.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Sports is always one of those things that it's just like you really feed off the energy of the other
Oh,
people.
stories, feuds. We're talking about. Were you gonna talk about that?
Yes. Yes. Oh, okay, yeah. I got in trouble at the Bay Area Curling Club
Who
because,
with?
well, it was actually some, there were some uh, engineers there who, from a place we may have both worked at.
Okay.
And I felt like this power trip because I like they were just starting to learn and they weren't
And
very
you
good
had
at
one bunch peels.
yeah, like we were coming in with like the fashion intimidation, like the club jackets and all that. And uh, I I mean I was just, harassing them playfully.
You're basically Malfoy in this story.
I'll take that. um, and I was like, I think I don't know, they had like delivered the rock and it was just garbage, and I was just like, come on, gentlemen, it's a simple game of physics. And they were laughing and just like, oh. And then the guy who taught us how to curl was in the next sheet over, and he was like, there's no trash talking and curling. I was like, there is now. Like, what is any sport if you're not able to, like,
I
sass
mean,
people a little?
the more I guess the more I listen to these stories, the more I'm like, that one psychic lady was so right. There's a lot of anger.
I mean, sports are generally about like psyching people out and
They
making
are though,
it.
absolutely. I mean, professional sports have a lot of trash talking. I guess it depends. You know, cricket. They
Mm-hmm.
supposedly say it's like the gentleman's game because it came from England. That's the only reason. Which I'm like, are there no gentlemen anywhere else in the world? But anyway, the thing with cricket is if you trash talk and it's like obvious or someone sees, you will get like fined or
Yeah,
even taken out of oh, absolutely.
like even if it's, well, I guess if it was like a real like professional tournament, you wouldn't be just playing around. Like,
No,
there,
no, no. This is I'm talking like on TV, right? Like you're actually having a game between two countries or even between let's say two cities or something. Because the thing is like where they're standing, the wicket. I'm not going to explain the rules of cricket, but it's a lot of
yeah,
places
I
like
guess you
Mike.
could have done that in this theoretical interview.
You know what? Next time that happens, just start explaining the rules of cricket, but make them up. They won't
Oh
tell. You
yeah,
won't be able to
oh yeah,
tell.
that is the best.
Just do that. But anyway, the everything is mic'd up, so you can hear fairly clearly if like one person, the players aren't mic'd, but the wicket is mic'd, and the umpire who's like standing right there is mic'd. So it's fairly like it's noticeable if you trash talk somebody right there. But what is allowed and totally happens is the crowd trash talking the players. So
Oh,
it's a giant field, and some, just like baseball, some catchers have to stand right near the edge where the crowd is.
so they
And
can hear all of it.
yes,
That sucks.
Like this dude, I can't believe like this. We used to have this guy who was the captain of the team. Amazing player, like really one of the best hitters of the ball. And he was a, slightly on the heavy side kind of person. And whenever he would stand on the boundary, like people would start hurling, like fat shaming him insanely.
Oh,
In one TV interview, he said, people call me potato so many times. I just want to start selling potatoes. And he was like sad. And it's most hilarious sad moment that I remember. And that's what I remember from his career. It's so sad. Like he's so great. He's such a great player.
oh.
So I think he genuinely, because he was the captain, he stopped like sending himself to the edge of the boundary so that wouldn't happen.
My God. They all, like, you must have to have pretty thick skin. It's like you can hear.
I see what you did there.
Like I've been to NBA games and stuff like that, and like
Oh yeah, wasn't there a thing recently
totally
where
hear.
this guy was like, this woman was screaming at LeBron because he like screamed at her husband?
It's just, yeah. That's gotta be hard.
Yeah, no, LeBron. I think LeBron said like, I thought he was her dad,
Shit.
which is a great burn. You can't. There's no recovering. um, so I guess looking to the future, are you gonna? Is it something you're now really deeply investing your time in? You've moved to Denver. Obviously, there's a lot more curling there, I guess, because of the temperature and whatnot. You're gonna continue doing it. More
Yeah, so
months? No.
I don't, we'll see what happens. Like I feel like I have to get better if if I'm doing it every week.
Of course. I mean,
Um,
you will.
I think
Absolutely.
I actually surprised myself because I was like, when I reached out to the club, I was like, so I don't know that I should actually be playing, but maybe I could like volunteer or something. And they're like, super sweet and just like, oh, like we'll get you back up this speed or whatever. And I actually like I didn't fall at all, which felt good. um, I feel like it's been going pretty well. So we'll see. Like the league I'm in is just a recreational league. Um, I feel like the all the people I know, because a bunch of people from the Bay Area moved here, and they
Of
play
course
in
they did.
they play in the competitive league. So we'll see. Maybe I'll see them someday. I have like I would love to go because tomorrow night, Tuesday night's the competitive league night, and I'd love to just
Okay.
go. But it's also like not cool to just show up.
With whom?
Well, just because of like the COVID regulations, like
Oh,
don't just be there if you're not playing.
but how do you get to play? Do you need a team you need a team of 4 people, right?
Well, I'm on a team of three, so the guy who organizes the leagues called me and was just like, "Do you mind playing with two dudes?" I was like, "No, if they'll let me play with them." He was like, "Yeah, they only have two players, and but they want to still play this season." So
Okay.
it's nice because like with only three players,
You
I
can't play with 2 people.
hmm?
You can't play with 2 people. Who's gonna sweep?
So the very last game we played in Calgary, two out of the four people on our team got hurt like during the last game. So it was down to two people. I don't know why we weren't forced to forfeit. Like I didn't think that was going to be okay. I was kind of
How
relieved.
is
Like, great, we're out. But
I mean,
then
how is that not immediately like confirmation that you don't need the sweepers?
I forget what happened. I don't remember if the skip just like ran
Swept.
and started sweeping my rock or if I just swept my own rock.
You can sweep your own. Oh, I guess. For
Like honestly, when you see people who know what they're doing, like I'm just jaw dropped. Like wow, like because once I do the thing, I'm just like sailing along and just watching it. But some people like hop back up immediately and like they're like sweeping. It's just, again, like I don't care enough to.
Did you watch the Bill Burr special Paper Tiger?
I did.
That has a curling bit in it.
Hmm.
I love that bit a lot.
It's out there.
You agree with him that that moment is creepy? I don't know why he described it as a creepy moment.
There's a lot about it is creepy. Like I was saying, like, I don't want to watch it alone. I'd feel creepy. Like, but like, yeah, there are parts of just that sport itself that feel don't sit well.
Even the people who love the sport hate it.
Yeah, it's like it's probably why I'm drawn to it. Like it's just the love hate relationship itself.
Would you? I think we're getting to a good place. So, curling is the sport for the self pitying, the self loathing,
Hmm.
and those with a lot of anger.
I think there's some anger. Yeah, I would say I don't know. I mean, like curling is like the B-side sport of my 30s, whereas roller derby was
Right.
like that was suited for my 20s. That was like still angsty,
What's
like
what's gonna be your 40s sport?
probably still curling because then maybe I'll be accepted.
Or I guess it's a long tail, right? Like the longer you do curling, the more appropriate it becomes for you.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. But like by that time, I'll probably I don't know. I can't let it get too comfortable, otherwise it's not giving me what I need from it, which is
Which is what exactly?
a certain level of discomfort.
But just enough.
Yeah, just enough to keep me coming back.
And that absolutely includes like the social remarks.
Oh yeah, like I talk about it as if it bothers me, and it does, but I don't think I'd have it any other way. Like there has to be some conflict. You can't just all be like people like treating each other well, throwing rocks.
How many responses have you thought of to that lady? I know it's at least dozens.
Okay, yeah, like because in my head I was like, okay, if she says one more thing, I have to say something, but I also don't want to because then I'm gonna look actually childish.
Are you though?
Oh, like, well, I mean, that might be part of the problem, but like, I, yes, I did have a response. Right? I just wanted to be like, just tell her, like, hey, like, just set the record straight. Like, I'm 34 and it's not my fault. I have flawless skin. It's a curse.
I mean, you could come up with a bunch of mean responses, but the thing is, like, at that point, you're also just, instead of insulting them, insulting old people. And there's plenty of really pleasant, really lovely old people.
Oh, sure. And like, that's one of the things I like about it. And like, it's such a range of ages. And that's why I love drinking with all those people afterwards. It's just really fun for me. And I like being able to like feel comfortable and fit in any of those conversations. Like, okay, 7-year-old guy wants to talk about golf, like I'm in. But so that's why it's just like I hate it when someone's like trying to exclude me from that. I'm like, no, this
Are
is
there actually kids or teens?
are there?
Yeah, are there?
They're
Well,
in a
not well
separate league.
in the world. I think they
Well,
are.
no, they're in the juniors league.
Oh, I see. So they don't play at the same time as
No, I think they're like
you said,
weekend.
like 15 to 49. That was the age range, or what
No,
was it?
21 because it's
20.
like
Because drinking age, the
yeah,
bar can be open, and oh, okay,
you
okay.
have to drink. So Um, but I also don't like, I don't want, like, I want to set the record straight and be like, I'm not that much younger than any of you, but like, because I also don't want to be seen as like, oh, there's the kid.
It's it's a classic like catch 22 situation that a bully puts you in,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, oh, are you gonna come cry about it now? Which is like, it should be totally legitimate for you to be emotional about
Exactly.
something.
Exactly. There's no way to come out on top.
It's like, yes, if you do show emotion, that is the right thing to do. Or if you don't, that's also, I guess, a choice you've made. But either way, you're not going to be happy or win.
No, I know. I think I played it well, and now I'm just like
So
internalizing
I
it.
think there's the only way to deal with it is you pass on you pass that on to your friends, the angst
Oh
through
yeah,
stories.
I've told like 6 people about this.
Exactly. You you probably told more people about this than any good thing that has happened in your life recently.
Easily, easily. But good stuff's boring. Nobody wants to hear that shit. I went on a beautiful hike the other day. Great. Who
No one cares.
cares?
Uh, that there's this concept which it's a meta level thing because I now hate that I know this concept, which is someone living rent free in your head.
Rent free.
Have you heard this phrase?
No.
This means someone is occupying some space in your thoughts and they
Oh
have no clue that you even are thinking about them. They don't care.
God.
I can see you're having a moment.
I like that though. Like it says it all.
But to me it's like now not only because I don't have the power to evict them easily from my thoughts. So now it's like both they are in my thoughts and I'm also hating myself because I'm like, you're rent. I have this concept to explain it, which is so annoying.
Yeah, that's tough because then it's just giving them more power,
Exactly.
like free rent and utilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
And
cutting like
savings.
UBI checks for them.
Mm, yeah,
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 that lady has like a nice 2 bedroom right now.
at least.
Uh, did we, this, I generally like to ask this question towards the end. And I think we're getting towards the end. It depends on how
I
much
mean, we're
stamina you
we're
have.
we're at like self-loathing, so it feels like a nice
Yeah,
date.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Let's let's end with the darkest stop. Let's talk about death. No, no, no. Is there something about girling that we didn't talk about that should have come up naturally?
Hmm. I think we covered the important things. Whoa, it's a huge drinking sport.
Didn't know that.
um, I don't think you actually need to be in great shape, despite what any curlers tell you to play. Um,
Don't have carpal tunnel, maybe.
it may be an ageist sport or just this one lady. um, and but yeah, it really is like aside from like anything I've said, like a really welcoming, lovely community of weirdos. So I'm happy that I've found that in my last two uh, places where I've lived.
Is there like an opposite of the phrase "I'm sold"?
I'm sold.
Like how what is the entirely opposite of that?
Bullshit.
No, no, it's not that. But yeah, no, I now know why I will never. really try curling.
So have you been?
No, I try curling, but I don't know skating and I don't like the cold. So I feel like I would have to.
I don't like the cold either, and I'm actually as
If
good
we
as I
just
am at.
move to the
Yeah,
mountains.
I know, and it's been a little rough. um, as good as I am at roller skating, I'm horrible at ice skating, and
Okay.
it's you're not really skating, and there's like grips on your shoes. So, um, and like when you're sweeping, like you get so warm that I'm usually like just in a t-shirt at some point. So fine, you'll be
You know
fine.
what? Sounds wonderful when you put it that way.
Great. I'll see you at the Bonspiel. Sounds like
Uh,
you are in.
yeah, I'm definitely in. Spiel me in. This was really wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you for letting me get that off my chest.
Of course. Of course, this will probably be your first televised therapy session, I think.
First of many. Let's hope.
Actually, maybe in a year or so, if I'm still doing this, we should talk about something else. I think comedy might be a good one to talk about next time.
Yeah, or we'll just see where I'm at in the curling
Oh,
shit.
right.
And I'm like
Maybe you're
still
like
talking about this lady.
you're like at the Calgary meetup, and your jacket is this lady's face with like the thing going through it. You know
Yeah.
what? At that point, your origin story should just be that lady. Like, don't even
Yeah.
just. I'll delete this then.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep you posted.
Sounds good. All right. Take care of yourself. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye bye.